Hey guys, so I've been following all the delinquencies that are going on in commercial here in the state of Florida. And it's starting to hit the market, not the properties, but we're starting to see the properties that are 30, 60, and then 90 days behind. And I want to talk about a specific property in multifamily, a specific asset in multifamily that's on the watch list right now. And the reason that I want to talk about this property is because in the last 10 years, this property has traded, sold 5 times, guys. And I just want you to see why, in simple terms, why we're in trouble, why the commercial sector is in trouble, and why none of this makes sense. Okay, guys? And I'm going to pick up this sheet here. I'm going to read you some stuff because I want it to make sense for you. I had to do a little research and digging on my end so I can present it to you in a way that it's understandable, because it could be very complicated, the terms they use, and it's really not that serious. It's really simple. So here we go. I'm going to break it down for you guys. So check it out. This property here is a 64 unit building, 35,000 square feet, built 1984. And the price on the one bedrooms right now rent for $849. That's today in 2025. Okay, guys. So let's go back to 2008. In 2008, this property sold for 3.3 mil. $51,000 per door. Okay, guys. And we all know what happened in 2008. That was the beginning of the financial crisis. And we do know that our values were really elevated in 2008. So this is a good start for me to see exactly where this asset class was priced at in 2008. And then in 2015, the owner of 2008 lost it and probably gave it back to the bank or sold it for a loss and showed up to the closing with money. But he sold it for 1.6 mil, and that was $25,000 per door. So the guy that picked it up in 2015 owned it for 1 year. Okay. And it seems like to me that it was an owner that wasn't experienced in either managing these properties in tougher areas, or just wasn't experienced at all in operating a 64 unit building. A 64 unit building is a different animal than a 6 unit building. Okay, guys. So he got a great price on it, but he probably had no clue on how to operate it. And what happens is when tenants can sniff that you're not a good operator, they'll unstabilize that building instantly. Okay, guys, you could lose a building within a year. And I don't mean lose it to the bank. I mean lose control of the building, meaning that you got busted pipes running, you got running toilets running, you got busted doors in common areas, you got people starting to break into other people's units, you got people hanging out in the vacant units. There's a ton of things that could happen to really unstabilize one of these multifamily buildings. So it looks like to me like the buyer that bought it for 1.6 in 2015 was one of those buyers, and he sold a year later for $297,000. He sold for $4,500 a door, guys. Now this guy here got a great deal, and he was a smart investor. Okay, guys. So this is the third sale. Think of it, within 10 years, it's the third sale. This owner, I'm assuming, bought it for $4,500 a door. I'm assuming that he put anywhere between 8 to 12,000 per door to update it, because I'm sure that it was mismanaged for many years and he had to get these units ready for rental. So I'm sure that he put anywhere between 8 to 12,000 per unit to get this property up and running and occupied. And then in November of 2019, once he got the building stabilized, he sold it for $4 million, guys. Now keep in mind, $4 million is a ton of money, okay? And the rent for this building was $863. Okay. In 2016, when the property sold for $296,000, the rents for one bedrooms were $625. So we're looking at a $225 rent increase on the one bedrooms, and the property went from $300,000 to $4 million. But that's not enough, okay? Because then this property resold in 2021, July of 2021. It sold for $5.3 million. And guess what, guys? The one bedrooms were still being rented for $863. There was no increase in rents from 2021 to 2019, guys. So I'm looking at a building that has been on the market for the last 10 years and traded 5 times. And it went from $300,000 to $5.3 million. What does that do to the taxes? It nearly triples them, quadruples them. What does that do to insurance? It does the same thing. And we're not seeing these rent values justify these price increases. And what I mean by that is, if these one bedroom rents went from $863 to $1,900 a month or $2,200 a month, then I could understand why they paid the 5.3 mil. But at this point, if I dug and I did a little more research, I could almost bet you that it was a private equity firm that came in and bought this building, or a REITs. And I know it's a smaller deal and they like units that are 100 units and over, but sometimes they get involved in smaller deals and they make these terrible decisions, guys. So now we got this building. It's 90 days delinquent. It has a ton of deferred maintenance that has not been done on the property, and it's definitely going to go into foreclosure. And if I had to predict the value on this property, I'd say that it's going to sell right around the $700,000 to $800,000 range if it goes into foreclosure. And the reason that is my prediction on this property is that there's a ton of things going on with tariffs. There's a ton of things going on with inflation. You guys hear it every day and all day. And it's just the beginning. It hasn't started. But when the room gets dark, it gets black. Okay. So we're starting to see the lights dim. We're right in the beginning of all this, but it's a ton of fun. This is where you really get some good deals. Okay. So I'm putting this news out here. I'm giving you this information to give you hope and knowledge that there is going to be a ton of good deals out here, okay, guys? But I want you to understand why these deals are going to hit the market. I need you to understand why they're going to hit the market, because otherwise I'm just another guy on YouTube talking. And I think there's plenty of those out there, and I know that I'm one of them, but I'd like to share this information with you so you can understand exactly what's going on in the market. So that's my prediction on this building. I see that this building in the last 10 years sold 5 times, and the very unfortunate part, and I'm going to close with this, is that the guy that paid 5.3 mil, or the equity firm that paid 5.3 mil, put a $1.8 million down payment, guys. So kiss that down payment goodbye. That money's gone. And whatever's owed on this building, it's not worth what it's owed because they're not making their payments. If this building was running correctly, they'd make their payments, but they're not making their payments. So guess what? If you owe 3 mil or whatever it is, 3.3 mil that's owed on this property, kiss that goodbye because it's not worth even what it's owed. So again, my prediction is anywhere between 6 and 800,000. If you guys like anything that I said, if you guys find value in the information that I'm giving you, I'd like for you to subscribe, guys. This channel is to give you content and information on what's going on in the industry. This is more of a passion for me. It's a love. I enjoy giving this information out. And if you guys got any questions, you can reach out to me at josejuarbe.com and I can get back to you with some answers. Otherwise, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you on my next one.